Special guest, Helena Escalante.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
I'm so glad that you made the trip to come.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
We're going to talk for a few minutes, and then we'll take questions. But first, I have a couple riffs that I want to share as we begin. You might notice over my shoulder a facsimile copy of the New York Public Library desk reference. And that book had a big impact on my life. I used to be a book packager. It inspired me to do a book called The Information Please Business Almanac that was even thicker and heavier and more packed with stuff that the internet made obsolete. But the library has always represented something for me. And the reason I'm talking about the library is for years you've been working there as a coordinator. That's where we met at the library. It represents diversity. Diversity of thought, diversity of opinion, actual diversity, not merely optical diversity. And in my blog post today, I talked about where we choose to be when we're walking through the world. Some people always walk a step ahead of everyone else, someone's always walking a step behind everyone else. Some people want to be just with their people, some people want to be with people who will provoke them into thinking more deeply. And the concept of the library for me is, most people don't know, you can still call them on the phone and they will answer your question on just about any topic other than what's my favorite ice cream flavor. They don't know that. But it's fascinating that there is truth available. There is the real world. There is knowledge. And we can take the knowledge that's there, whether it's with other people, and the altMBA is all about that, and I know you're an alum, or with what's in a book or what's online, and those collisions are what create our future. So I want you to talk a little bit to get us started. What do you do? Tell us a little bit about the new blog, which I'm super excited about, because I think that's in the spirit of all of this.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. First and foremost, I just have to say that I'm delighted to be here, so thank you. Well, what do? I do a lot of things. As you mentioned, I do outreach for the New York Public Library, and that is a dream come true because it enables me to reach out and befriend beloved authors like you. So this is just a fantastic, fantastic thing that I do. Another thing that I do is I do multicultural marketing and communications for several different clients. What that means is that we take a message and we don't just translate, but we transcreate the message.
Nice.
So we give it that meaning, that sense that will really resonate with the recipient.
Right. So you're originally from Mexico City.
I am.
Your husband's from Spain.
Yes.
So you've got half the globe covered.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I am fortunate enough that within my firm, I am able to have enough collaborators so that now we can do this in 100 languages.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty extraordinary. So in Queens, which isn't very far from here if you're not in New York, the Queens Public Library, as you know, there are books in the library in more than 140 languages.
Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah. And when we think about that, and yet we put ourselves in these bubbles, not just a news bubble, but a bubble of experience, a bubble of what we're exposed to. So which altMBA were you in?
I was in 8.
altMBA 8. So now we have 1,600 alums, and we've been in 45 countries, 650 cities.
Yay!
And it's really extraordinary because it's not that big a number to divide out into that many cities. It's only 3 people per city, right? But what's happening is people are learning empathy, how to see through other people's eyes. And I know that that's something that's been driving you for a really long time.
Oh, a very, very long time.
So tell us about this Entre Guru thing. And I saw that you've got a couple books. You got David Schwartz, who we don't hear from very often. His book is on the blog.
Yeah.
It just launched, right?
Absolutely. I just launched
this week. What's the domain?
It's entregurus.com. E-N-T-R-E for entrepreneurial and gurus.com.
Right, and leave out the last S for smart. It's not Entre Guru, it's Entre Gurus.
Exactly.
Okay, good. I left out the S originally.
So that's no problem. But the idea behind it is to bring one idea, to spread one idea on business or life that can help whoever reads it.
Right.
And this actually came because there is a story from Mitzi Perdue. She is the daughter of Ernest Henderson, who founded Sheraton Hotels.
Okay.
And anyway, long story short, he said to her one day, you know, just one idea can change your life. And that resonated so deeply with me because I read a lot that I want to be able to share this with the world.
You read 150 books a year.
I do.
So I need to amend this a little bit because it changed Mitzi's life, but a different hotel magnate had a granddaughter, and no idea has changed Paris Hilton's life. Mm-hmm. And the reason is you need more than the idea. It needs to land in fertile ground. True. And this idea of fertile ground is why, 40, 50, 60,000 people will watch this, but only 16 or 20 of them will sign up for the altMBA. What's the barrier? The barrier is, are you open to walking differently? Are you open to leveling up differently? And we cheat because we only take people in the altMBA who are open to that. Mm-hmm. That's the opposite of what usually happens. So that, the easiest thing for a rock star to do is get a standing ovation for her big hit because everyone in the auditorium is there to hear it, right? So that's the idea, is if you can surround yourself with people who are wanting to make that change happen, it is likely that that change will happen for you too.
Absolutely.
So a little aside about the altMBA, and then we'll get ready for questions. Does that work?
Yep.
Okay. So Monday is the next deadline for altMBA applications. It's also a turning point for us because after a couple of years we have to raise the rates. So if you apply before Monday, you get the old rate. If you apply after Monday, you get the new rate, which is more expensive. And the other thing that we're doing, we're doubling down on this experiment we started the other day. I don't know if you saw it. If you go to the comments of this Facebook right now and type START, S-T-A-R-T, capital or small, doesn't matter.
Nope.
You will get magic messages coming to you via Facebook Messenger.
Very cool.
And some of those people who are getting them are using them to write things in Facebook. They're prompts. Some people are just looking at them. If you just look at them, great. This will lead you to a blog post to remind you about these Facebook Lives. I'm fine with that. But if you actually use the prompts to do what the prompts are for, which is to write a new thing, a new thought, to share it, change begins to happen, drip by drip by drip. And what I've seen, we've known each other for a couple of years, is that's your posture, is you plant seeds and you water them. And that forward shift is so powerful. That's my mission. That's what I do. It's one thing to bring an idea to people, but it's another to create a dynamic where they can't relieve the tension until they actually do something.
Right. Well, I think what you said about the altMBA is completely true. And I have to say that and I don't say this lightly, but probably the best decision that I've made in my life is marrying my husband.
I hope so.
Second to that, one of those is doing the altMBA.
Wow.
It was life-changing for me.
That's fantastic.
I cannot tell you, I did it last year, in February of last year, and my life has been tremendously, beautifully changed because of what I learned in there, because of what I continue to learn, because of the way I continue to grow, but more importantly, because of the community.
Yeah.
The community is fantastic.
Well, that's great. We work hard to keep it small, 125 people a session, and Sam and the rest of the team work very hard to make sure that the right people are there, not because of what's on their resume, but because who they seek to become. And that's the big shift. Like, you only get into Dartmouth if you got great scores on the SATs. But they don't really care who you're about to become. That's not what they're filtering for. We're the opposite. We don't care if you got single digits on the SAT. What we care about is that you have this posture of possibility. Right. And that's what you found when you showed up. Other people like you.
Exactly.
That's magnificent.
And that's why I've created these beautiful bonds with people that, again, a year ago I did not know, but by now I consider them almost as siblings.
Yeah,
they're the brothers and sisters, dear friends that I didn't have before. And it's great.
Love hearing that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to some questions if they've come in.
All right, yeah.
Okay, this one's from Carol. So you mentioned that you keep in touch with your classmates. How so? You meet with them in person?
Oh, there are so many ways to do it. Number one, there is a Slack group that is constantly going. So through there, I try to engage at least once a day. Number two, I keep in touch with the ones that we became friends with on a regular basis. Either we text each other, we email each other. Furthermore, I have a mastermind of, well, we're a group of 4, and we meet every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. And one thing that was a goal of mine this year was, and I know this is crazy, but I know I'm gonna do it. I want to meet every single one of the alumni. So I've been emailing them.
1,800 of them?
Well, when I started it was 1,500, so I mean, I don't know what. At least those 1,500.
We may have to host a live event to give you a head start.
Yeah, please
do a whole bunch at once.
Could you please?
In a Zoom room. We'll put you in a Zoom room.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. All right, so this one's from Ben.
Sure.
When you began the workshop, did you have a goal in mind? It's a 2-part question. Do you feel it would be helpful for someone who doesn't have a specific purpose?
Well, I have to tell you though, my goal was to give it all of me. So I dove in without necessarily an expectation, but it's that, it sounds a little trite, but it's so true. You get out of it what you put into it. And the truth is that in this case, I got so much more, believe me, than I put into it. And I just trusted the process. I love that phrase so much, trust the process, that I even wrote it down and put it in my computer. So every time I opened my laptop, it was there, trust the process. Because the beauty of it is that you are there to do beautiful, wonderful things as you please, without necessarily rigid guidelines or anything. So you're free to create and to be yourself and to do just whatever you want. But at the same time, sometimes that is, a little bit confusing, because you think, oh my God, where are the directions? What am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's beautifully said.
Yeah. We'll do 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
If we have time.
We can.
Okay,
This is great.
cool.
This one's from Laura. So you mentioned that your life had changed. In what way?
Oh goodness. Let me just say a few words, but believe me, I need more fingers than I have.
Jazz it.
Exactly. Well, number one, I made this beautiful, wonderful, lovely group of friends that I cannot envision my life without them now, period. Number two, the beauty of that is that I can bring something to them. And it could be anything, from a project that I'm working on to a problem that I'm having with a client to anything. And they will listen to me. They will not judge. They will just lovingly give me their opinion, but they're very honest, elevating, enlightening opinion, so because they want my well-being. And it's totally reciprocal. Yeah. Because I do the same for them. So I know that I can count on this group to keep me sane, number one, but also to keep me going, and also for creativity and ideas. They are just a fantastic group. Anything that I have a question on, how do I do this, how do I go for this, they are just so willing to give information, to offer resources, to offer connections.
And I'm
They're
betting
fantastic. Yeah.
that you're giving back at least as much as you're giving.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, of course, yes.
All right, and we'll do 1 more. This one's from Liz. How did the altMBA help you bring your blog to life?
Oh, wow. So, oh my God, same thing. I need more fingers.
Entregurus.com.
Entregurus.com, exactly. Well, first and foremost, I wanted for the longest time to have a blog and a podcast. And I just could not find my voice. Yeah. I just kept thinking, okay, so what am I going to write about? And one of the things that happens a lot, I guess to me and to a lot of people, is that you start thinking about it, and then your lizard brain comes to pay a visit.
Polish.
Yes, and that is not helpful. One of the ways in which the altMBA helped me was to recognize and to be aware when that lizard brain was going to pop up, and then to recognize, number one, that it's okay, we all have it, but we do not need to let the lizard brain guide us, number one. Number two, another way in which the altMBA really touched that is because I asked them just, what am I good at? Because it's very hard for me to say, oh, I'm good at this, and this.
Exactly.
And they helped me tailor it to this. And once they just said, I see you as this and this and this and this, or I see your gifts as this, or you're very good at this. And then suddenly it just clicked and it happened. But also another way in which they help, each one of the altMBAs has a superpower, or many I should say. One of the altMBAs helped me select a name because that's her specialty. She wrote a book about, it's called, can I say it?
Karch.
Yeah, okay, so
say
Louise Karch helped me select the name and helped me go through the process. Some other altMBAs helped me with vetting what I was writing and giving me feedback.
And the small word, sorry to interrupt, but the small world part is Louise Karch lives 10,000 miles from here.
Exactly. Yes. The book took, I think, 3 weeks to get home because she mailed it from Australia.
It's a crazy world we live in.
Exactly.
So let me just recap a couple of the housekeeping things. altMBA.com/apply is where you go if you're interested in this. Start is what you should type right now if you want to check out the Facebook Messenger experiment. It's just an experiment. It could end at any moment. And Monday is the big day.
Yeah.
What other things before, are we going to do more questions or are we going to wrap up? What's your plan?
We're good.
We're going to start wrapping up. So, one last housekeeping thing, a bittersweet day today. Maya P. Lim, who's been on the board and working with us for a while, is moving on to do some design projects, and we're wishing her the best. And Jen is joining the team. She's in the back quietly today, but you'll see Jen coming and going as we go. But we run a studio here, and part of the energy of a studio is we have new voices, we have magical people coming and visiting. We're trying to make a ruckus. We're trying to help you make a ruckus. This was fun. I'm really glad you came.
This was so much fun. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
inviting me. It's a
Anything I
pleasure.
forgot? Anything I forgot?
No. Can I say
Say
one
it.
thing?
You're on camera.
Really quick.
Go.
Thank you. One of the hangups for most people considering the altMBA is the amount of time. I just have to say, whatever is important for you, make the time for it, and it'll be worth it. We, the 1800, made the time for it, so if we could, you can too. Find support. I mean, my husband cooked for a full month. He took care of the laundry, he took care of everything, and I'm not the only one that said that, but it is well worth it, definitely.
Fantastic.
So thank you.
Thanks for watching. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It's great
Thank
to
you
see
so much. It's so
Thanks.
wonderful to see you.